She had conversations with people who were trying to say that this was racist and that this wasn't like, if it was the other way around, can y'all stop defending these please? Like, it is not the same in any capacity.
There is no like historic racial like stuff with whiteface. There was a clip of her mom calling her and being like, "You were so good up there and you had long sleeves on and long pants."
She probably hasn't seen that in forever.
And then everyone was in the comments was like, "Hi, your mom was happy that you just had clothes on, girl."
Yeah, that's wild. Y'all have to understand the worshiping and the putting on the plateau of these kind of degenerate gentlemen is not the step in the right direction. There are real political prisoners, folks who have been associated with the Black Panthers. Even this dude who was just arrested and got a sentence for protesting during the Black Lives Matter that's doing federal charges right now. These are people who we should be advocating for, not folks who are killing each other.
Oh, he's so great. And I actually want women to stop doing that, because just because you have like a good experience and a good relationship with somebody who's being accused of like atrocities or abuse by another woman doesn't mean that like he's not capable of doing that. There are people who are their children and their neighbors are full on serial killers, and they're like, I would have never known.
The accountability part isn't coming from what your actions are. It comes from what we allow. Because we can't have a real, true, and safe environment if we don't defend our most vulnerable. Like, I get what people want to say, like, oh, the women, they're not there. Like I just said earlier, women don't have a level of respect in regards to it. But at the same time, we have to ask, what is there to respect? Again, I understand women can be dastardly. They can be, well planned out schemers and scammers. But in the heat of the moment, I don't believe that these women, especially these young girls, are going to follow through and execute.
Drunk as hell, too.
Yes, are going to follow through and execute on a plan to incriminate this man in real time.
Your whole life is revolved around talking about other people's lives.
What the fuck do you think your ass is doing on that podcast now?
This podcast is sponsored by Graffiti Tax Services. For all your tax preparation needs, you can go to graffititax.com. We're going to put the link right here. It should be somewhere. And yeah, you can head to them during tax season. And if you have any financial or tax preparation questions, head to Graffiti Tax Services. They're our new sponsor. Thank you to Graffiti Tax Preparation Services. That's it.
I think it's official that New York is going to be the end of this show. Like every time you go.
New York is going to be literally the top and pinnacle of this show. When we move to New York is when it's going to take off for real.
No, it's just every time that you come back from New York, you just become a brand new person. You start acting different. You start not being able to, do the show at our normal rate. Like it's crazy.
I be pooped and I always go straight to work, but it was lit. And this trip was a different lit than most of the trips that I've taken. This was one of those trips that like every single move you make was the correct one. Every party was lit. We stayed out till 6 a.m. every single day that I was there. I came back. My voice is back now, but I came back hoarse. Like it was a blast. Some people almost tore ACLs.
Y'all was playing a basketball game?
No, so it was a Pasa versus Freaknik party that my friend Malik threw. Shout out Malik. And one of he's not my friend, but he's a friend of a friend, and he's Jamaican. He be getting it off, and he jumped off the stage into a split. Didn't do that correctly. Fucked up his knee almost.
Blowing out your knee off the top
ACL.
Rope, off the top rope split is insane at a party.
Yeah, it was lit.
My man got to go back to work on Monday. Like,
nah, he couldn't go back to work. He's out for a week.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't even get disability for that. Like, they just telling you like,
you don't know what this man.
They not give you disability when you tell them like what happened, and they like, oh, I did a top rope split at the dance party, getting going crazy.
I'm sure that's not what he told the job.
They gonna see that in the X-ray. They like, brother, you came from at least 10 feet. Like, there's no way.
It was kind of a high stage.
This
Yeah.
man jumped from the top rope. So I mean, they gonna be able to see the evidence. What was you doing? What other reason are you stretched out, legs jumping down? Like, we need explanations here.
Accidentally.
Nah, it ain't no accident when you accident.
Slipped
You trying
on a
to
banana.
That's not what you ain't.
Fell down the stairs.
You're not accommodating the distance.
I fell down the stairs into a split.
The impact shows that there was a severe distance, and I'm assuming he's of island descent.
Yeah.
So it tracks. They're gonna sit here and be like, come on, guy, we see what you got. We see what you brothers do on the internet.
That they discriminating because he's Jamaican.
We know exactly what you brothers do. These injuries are familiar. We've seen this before.
This is a pasa injury.
Yeah, this is a C nigga special right here.
Oh no.
Oh my bad. Too early.
Yes. But yeah, it was good for the soul. I had a really good like girls' night. Went to my one of my best friend's apartment and we got ready together, and then I slept over, and then the next morning we watched Twilight, and then we went shopping, and then we went to another party, and it was a Haitian weekend. We went to so many Haitian parties, and this was actually my first time going to Haitian parties as an adult. All of my Haitian parties were with family.
So what makes it a Haitian party?
They're playing all Haitian music, and it's all Haitian people, and there's Haitian food there as well, and it's in a Haitian establishment.
Okay, so I'm just saying, because sometimes you be like Haitian macaroni and cheese, and it just be like you cut up some vegetables and put in it.
That's not it's not that's not it.
Okay, I'm just
It's
asking.
the epis, it's
Okay.
the cheeses,
Oh, my
it's the
bad.
condensed milk.
Oh, my bad.
Don't disrespect the Haitian mac and cheese. It doesn't taste like American mac and
It's
American
different.
Yeah, it's macaroni pie, I guess. Like,
It's a casserole.
yeah. It's good though. You like it.
You got to see all your family too, right?
Yes.
Let's make it sound like a wholesome trip.
It was Haitian Mother's Day, so I spent some time with my grandma. My friends came over to my dad's house, and she cooked for us. That's my grandma's love language. She's through and through a Haitian woman, so she made us some tasso. Amazing. Okay, I'm still thinking about that right now.
I never got tasso.
Well, I don't cook like my grandma, so you know. Maybe when she comes, you'll get some.
The recipes.
Yeah, I need to get that recipe. But you know, I'm always in the kitchen with her. Like, I make it my mission to listen to what she says when it comes to the kitchen.
I'm just saying, I just want to taste all the Haitian meals I can.
It's just fried goat and like fried plantain, which you don't like.
Okay, well, you know, we can skip the plantain with the
And-
fried goat.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm not a banana boy, so I mean, those island bananas, sea bananas.
Not sea bananas. And yeah, so I spent some time with my dad, my family. My uncle came from Canada. There was my uncle graduated from something, and they all went to Pennsylvania, but that was the night of the Pasa party, so I had to go be a delinquent instead of going with my family, because that's what I went for. I was like, my dad told me when I got there, he was like, oh, we doing this on Saturday, and I was like, we are not. Y'all are doing that on Saturday. I'm gonna be shaking my ass,
Oh my God.
which I was with my friends, and I was looking good. It was healing to my heart. It was a really good time.
We're going to discuss more of that because there's some other gentlemen who had some similar situations. Their girls going off, acting wild in the clubs. So some guys that we're going to have to discuss later on in the show.
I wasn't acting wild in the club.
Hopefully.
I mean,
I'm gonna get some screenshots coming soon. It's gonna be like, this was your girl.
definitely not.
Acting wild, acting different. That's what they gonna say. All right, you are now listening to Talk FNF TV. I'm your host, Absurd Rhetoric, and I'm with my lovely and amazing and gorgeous co-host, Miss Fair.
Hi guys.
All right, man. I'm getting tired of talking about this, but it seems like every other 2 or 3 weeks there's a whole new story, whole new lane and element we have to address this. But I just want you to know, you Tory fans have gone full stupid with this. So I don't know if you've seen this on the internet. It's been...
I've seen a couple things, and I just dismissed it because I didn't think that anybody was taking this seriously. I just thought people were just going over old things, but I guess people are actually taking these things seriously.
Oh, no, I definitely took a look at 36hourslater.com, which was the Tory Lanez website that outlined their theory on who was telling the truth, what was being said, what inconsistencies they could, spotlight. That's essentially what this was. It was an entire website dedicated to calling Meg a liar. Like, essentially,
that's what that's what his Liz Lawler should have did, like, in the first place.
Well, it didn't matter because, again, we've discussed this on the show before. He did not go to jail for shooting Meg. He got to jail. He went to jail for discharging a firearm in public. Mm-hmm. That is why he went to jail. It had
and
nothing
having
to do.
it, right?
Yeah, and having possession of it. And like, again, that is why he is in prison. That is what everyone's testimony, no matter how different it may look like, that is why he is in jail. Not because he assaulted Meg in any way. That is not what he was on trial for. And once people, that's something they'll never get rid of. And so, essentially, this website wants you to believe the story that Kelsey is the one who shot Megan and Tory is some white knight that came and stopped these two women from fighting. So, like, some of the videos they have like tons of videos from the night in question where they show Megan, saying, I stepped on glass, trying to talk to the police, which she's already explained to us. The reason why she did that was because she was in fear of her life and didn't want the police to make the situation worse than what it already was.
Yeah, she was just nervous around the police, which black people usually are.
And then they also tried to go into this statement of it not even being a bullet in her foot at all, or not even a bullet in her foot, but bullet fragments in her foot, even though there was a doctor that was under oath said, hey, I pulled bullet fragments out of this girl. So again, we're not saying
bullet fragments and glass look different, probably.
A lot.
I'm sure.
Very different. And also, if I'm pulling these fragments out and saying that these are bullets in here, it doesn't mean the bullet went into her foot. It just means her foot was near where the bullet hit and it ricocheted. Shrapnel? Shrapnel, yeah.
It's a weird word.
That is a weird word. Shrapnel, yeah. So that's easily what that could have been. But they're just so obsessed with trying to make her into this villain. Like, they even have like this timeline that contradicts Megan's claims where they go into, she says the reason why she spoke out was because Tory was going online basically trying to have the internet spin the story in his direction. Mm-hmm. But they try to show where she went out, said what happened, went to the police, did multiple videos kind of addressing it until he actually addressed on the internet. What they're trying to be disingenuous with that is we all know the internet was pushing all of these narratives, or telling all of these stories about it, trying to make Meg seem like she was shot because Tory was defending himself from her. Like that, you don't remember that was a story?
No, I don't.
That was a big story. People were like saying, "Oh, did he shoot her because he was defending himself from her?"
Mm-hmm. Oh, because she big and all that.
Yeah, because she bigger than him.
That. Yeah.
So yeah, there was like a lot of these stories that were going out. So Megan came and cleared it up. Also,
yeah, she did come out in defense of herself. Like, she was like, "This nigga shot me."
She said that she was shot, but she never went and said Tory was shot until like a few videos later. Then they go into Sean Kelly's testimony. Okay.
That was the
witness that was on the balcony. Yeah. Okay. I need y'all to understand something. Y'all are very obsessed about this man's testimony, and it's for a few reasons. Because he said he saw the girls fighting, and he says he saw a flash or maybe a gunshot coming from one of the girls' direction. He didn't say he seen anyone shooting. He said he never seen a gun. And you know what else he also said? He said that he saw shooting into the car. There were no evidence of that.
Yeah. And you said that they told the jury to disregard that.
Yeah,
right?
they told him to disregard that. They also said, in question to his story, was when he called 911 the night in question, he did not say anything about a girl shooting anybody. Mm-hmm. He just talked about seeing a man yelling and shooting and all that. He never said that. And then they tried to play audio from the night where it's basically like all of this noise because you can hear the traffic and all the stuff where he was talking to the police officer. That's not very clear. Again, he did say something about the women potentially firing, but he also said shooting, dropping in a car. So like it didn't make any sense to the story that he's saying. So regardless of how you want to put it,
if they're asking the jury to disregard parts of his testimony, doesn't that make him like less
Well, he was supposed to be Tory's defense.
Oh.
This was supposed to be Tory's lead witness.
Well, that's why the nigga is in jail.
But the thing is, even though he said he saw a flash coming from the woman, he also said he saw multiple flashes coming from Tory, and then he even put his hand up in court waving the gun like he said Tory was waving it. So like,
which tracks with what Megan was saying when he said dance.
Yeah.
Bitch.
So like, and all of this too, I want everybody to know, like I'm not just reacting to this website. I went back and listened to Kelsey's testimony when she talked to the police, and I went back and read Megan's testimony when she was on the stand. So these women pretty much story was almost a 1-for-1. Like I literally, as I was reading Megan's, I could hear Kelsey's, and it was similar stories. So you can go and say, oh, they planned this out, they mapped this out or whatever. Let's be real, man.
Before you continue, my 2 questions though with all of this is, why would both Megan and Tory not just come out and say it was Kelsey?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then what does Tory get from protecting Kelsey?
So
and taking the fall for a woman that he was just messing around with and wasn't even his girlfriend.
Well, the Tory shit is this under the guise of he's supposed to be some street nigga, and he's basically not snitching. He's not cooperating with authorities. So that's why he's not telling on Kelsey. The first question that you had was, what was it again? Megan. Oh, say it one more time.
Why wouldn't Megan just come out and say that it was Kelsey that shot me?
So this is what,
especially when they've been at odds from then. Mm-hmm. Like they have not been cool.
See, there's the reasons why I don't believe this idea that Kelsey shot her. And the reason why I don't believe it is because if you think about the night in question. So like I said, the dude, Sean Kelly, went in his testimony, not his testimony, but his 911 call, he doesn't say anything about a woman shooting. When Kelsey gets arrested, she says Tory did it. Mm-hmm. She text messages, says Tory did it. Mm-hmm. Again, I understand women can be dastardly. They can be, well planned out schemers and scammers. Mm-hmm. But in the heat of the moment, I don't believe that these women, especially these young girls, are going to follow through and execute.
Drunk as hell, too.
Yes, are going to follow through and execute on a plan to incriminate this man in real time.
And succeed at it, too.
And as blatantly successful with all the drama that was going on between the two through there. She made a diss song talking about if I had shot you, you would have been dead. Like, it's literally all of the stuff that she was going on and doing. And you want me to expect that these 2 women held this story down all this time?
And they beefing for fake.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then, This is what I think happened, okay? I think they were fighting. I think her and Kelsey were fighting.
No, they were. And because they found out that they was both messing with Tory.
Yeah, but they in both of their testimonies, they never admit to them physically fighting each other.
Yeah.
I think they were physically. Yeah, I think they were physically fighting each other because Sean Kelly says he did see 2 women fighting. Mm-hmm. I think they were physically fighting each other. Tory came out, tried to act like he was a big dog, shot the gun to get them to stop. I think the first flash he shot was whatever the bullet hit to ricochet and probably caused a little spark or something. And that's whatever hit Megan's foot. And then he just continued to shoot or whatever. And that's what stopped them from fighting. The big dude grabbed Kelsey off her like Sean Kelly said. And I think Megan's team was just like, hey, we don't want to have this story of you being this rapper girl talking trash and you was getting beat up by this little girl. And so we just going to say this nigga just shot at you, even though he did shoot, but he was just shooting to get y'all to stop fighting.
Well, if I was Kelsey in the diss track too, why wouldn't I say that I whooped your ass that night?
Yeah.
Like, cause she did say some crazy stuff. Like
she did say
me saying that like I beat your ass that night wouldn't be as crazy. But I think said.
That would just be incriminating at that point because she didn't have immunity yet. So I don't think you would say I beat your ass that night.
I mean, she did say if I shot you,
she would say if I shot you, you'd have been dead. But that's different. If she was saying if we would have fought, you would have been woke up. Maybe she could have barred that.
Okay, I'll give you that.
But she didn't. You can't just admit what you said. Mm-hmm. You trying to call it out. Mm-hmm. She didn't get that immunity yet.
I'd be in jail.
And I think that's part of the reason why she wanted immunity because she was assaulting Megan. So to me, that's what I think happened. I think the nigga did shoot her. I think he shot trying to be Mr. Fly guy. He was fucked up and drunk too. And that's where we get this situation that happens from. And this is just, again, they haven't even put nothing in court. Like, that's the crazy thing.
He hasn't gotten an appeal or nothing.
Not since, I think he did one in April. But for any of this evidence, nothing of this is going to court. Nothing of this is being questioned. All this is just a smear campaign to big him up on the internet. Like, that's all this is.
And that's not going to help.
I mean, it's not going to do anything in regards to anything else. Like, the mere fact of he wasn't in prison, he's not been convicted for shooting Megan. And that's the story that y'all keep trying to spin around, regardless of how many times you want to spin it. That's not what we're talking about here.
How much time does he have left?
I think it was 22 is when he got convicted. So
ooh,
he got 10 years. So
yeah, wow.
He might get out early for good behavior, but whenever he get out, he's going to Canada. So
straight there. But he can still.
That's what it's all about.
He can still release music and do whatever he's doing in Canada. He released the music in jail.
It was funny too. They even had like text messages on here where they said, "Oh, look where they had edited text messages." Because this is where she said, "Tory shot Meg and handled me." And then now, because that goes into what her statement was, that Tory was beating her up. In her statement, that's what she said. Tory, that's where she got all her markers from, because Tory beat her up. But like I said, her story and Megan's story there's a lot of inconsistencies that don't really make sense to it. But I feel like my story makes the best sense.
Yeah, of course you do.
But you don't think so?
I think it makes sense, but
I mean,
I just think that's such a you thing to say.
I'm just saying, this is like, what else could it be? Because it doesn't make sense for him to just shoot at them for no reason. So if they're fighting, I can see him being stupid and trying to do a warning shot and it end up hitting her. And then that's where we at here.
Just don't shoot at nobody.
I mean, it's safe. Just don't be an idiot. And like, there's other reasons why too. It's just like the way Tory handled himself through the whole process. It just showed him as just being a doof. Like the music videos he was doing, getting into it with August Alsina. Like I've known
the horse leg.
Yeah,
thing,
I've known he's been a dumbass since his Travis Scott beef he had. But like, for you to just keep it in full effect, it's completely insane. I don't get it. But was there anything else you wanted to touch on with it?
No, he's a full idiot, and he's gonna stay in jail. Yeah. And did you want to get into some more idiots that think people are gonna get out of jail that aren't getting out of jail at all?
Yeah, we definitely can.
Because why do y'all think Larry Hoover is getting out?
It's okay. So if y'all haven't heard, Trump has announced the pardon of Larry Hoover. So if y'all not familiar with Larry Hoover, he is the leader and founder of the notorious Gangster Disciples. He's pretty much one of their most notable members. If he's not the leader, I don't think he may not be the leader. I think he just may be a notable member. And he's been in jail for pretty much like since the 70s. He was originally arrested for the murder of a drug dealer by the name of Pookie. He killed him, and he was sentenced to like 150 to 200 years in state prison. In the midst of his state prison, again, that was probably overkill for the murder.
For one murder,
and
probably.
And then what was a lot of people believe was due to the violence that was going on in the community because of those gangs, he was received the brunt of maybe like a lot of. He was
made an example of,
essentially. So while he was in prison, he allegedly then organized an entire drug enterprise and operation that was raking in a lot of money.
As you do as a gangster in prison.
And then he was end up found for doing that. And that's when he received federal charges. And that is what Trump released him on. So I do want to play, because a lot of Chicago people, they see this and they're excited.
So he still got them 200 years though.
Well, don't tell them because they're going to be upset because they don't know that. Listen to what your boy said. This is what your man Chance the Rapper had to say.
How long have I been shitting on Chance the Rapper on here? I said the one good thing he did is acid rap, and then since then it's just been.
No, that's your man. So.
And then he went to the carnival and did too much grabbing ass and being disrespectful. You just enjoy it. That's all. You just exist with it. You don't.
Before I let y'all politicize this or memify this, I just gotta say I am glad that Larry Hoover is home. And I gotta remind y'all that he was a political prisoner that was set up by the federal government, that he created the Chicago votes. He did so many things to really mobilize our people, and he was really targeted for that shit. And so before niggas get to cooning or doing whatever they finna do with this information, I just want to say I'm so glad that he's home. And God bless his family, and yeah. Before I let y'all politicize this,
like I said, he's wrong. So the nigga isn't home. The nigga is going to finish out his 200 years in state prison where Trump has no effect on, because the president can only affect federal cases. This is what you also got to understand. we have to stop putting these type of men on a pedestal. These type of individuals who, because this man, he called him a political prisoner. When he got in trouble with the federal government, he was already in prison.
For killing another black man.
Again, so this operation that they try to act like, he said the votes or the
Chicago
votes or whatever, that was shown to be a money laundering operation in the federal indictment that he had. Like when they went and did the case, that was shown that he was laundering money through those organizations. It was also shown that his girlfriend testified against him. His co-defendants testified against him. They had wires on the other visitors during his visitor meeting, so they were able to catch the stuff he was saying during his visitor meeting. They were able to show and outline a whole operation of which this man was controlling the gangs and also operating a drug cartel from said prison. This is not a good individual. He is not someone who went there and he was rehabilitated. And the fact that I see like clowns like Jay Wan talking about, do Dirk next, free Dirk next. Y'all have to understand the worshiping and the putting on the plateau of these kind of degenerate gentlemen is not the step in the right direction. There are real political prisoners, folks who have been associated with the Black Panthers. Even this dude who was just arrested and got sentenced for protesting during the Black Lives Matter that's doing federal charges right now. These are people who we should be advocating for, not folks who are killing each other, folks who is maybe killing, folks who are oppressing them. How about we look at that and focus on those individuals and not these individuals who only thought about themselves, whose operation was only about themselves, who did aesthetics that may look cool, the little turkey drives or whatever they say for the community, only to then put more of that poison that was keeping the community down in the community.
That's always the case.
Like
I feel like it's very gluttonous behavior too. Like you don't want anything good for anybody else but yourself.
And they think because, if the special one, they find them and they protect that special one in that process or through their community, they're doing something special, but you're still creating the environment that makes somebody who's not that special have to live and survive to something that it may not be much at the end of the road for them. Because they didn't show that they were good in sports or they weren't good in school or whatever shit that you value at that particular time in your culture. They didn't show that value. And now they just have to sit there and be desolate and live a life of nothing because they didn't get those similar opportunities to try to at least make themselves better. But you put guns and weapons and a little bit of money in their pocket and think that, look, I helped them out. No, you didn't. You destroyed the community. That's all y'all niggas did. Like Larry Hoover, what you did is what we have for Dirk right now. That is why we have Dirk.
Yeah. That's why. And niggas rap about it. Like, you think you Big Meech Larry Hoover. Like, niggas put that shit on a pedestal on a regular basis. And it's very problematic because these are people who are destroying the communities that we are a part of.
And then get to live like these kings when they get out, like Big Meech getting out now. And getting to be this celebrity and this individual like
a public figure.
Yeah, like he was out there like he was fucking Nelson Mandela or something.
Yeah, like a cultural phenom.
Like it makes me sick to see that because when you call them out, clowns like Chance the Rapper call you a coon because you have a standard on which you hold black leaders and excellence to. And these gentlemen do not, they fall flat on it 10 times out of 10. Like when you just look into the motivations of their actions, the type of lifestyles they were living when they had their freedom. This wasn't individual. Like this wasn't Larry Hoover's not Fred Hampton.
Do white people not do the same thing with like crime families and mob bosses and stuff like that? Like they do glorify the same thing. There are shows about them and stuff like that. Do you think it's more problematic for us to do that because we have less examples of like?
Yeah, I think when the concentration of our wealth and the people who are high earners generally tend to be in the athletes and sports. Athletes and music, entertainment. So when you have that being the focus, or that's what we see the majority of who are able to operate at that high income level, then yeah, you get affected by that because those become your leaders. Like Malcolm X talked about that. He warned us about the Dick Gregory's and all these people who are entertainers who become leaders because of either their status or the capital that they're able to earn. So And then if you think about the people who are high earners that aren't in those organizations, they thrive on a status quo being the same. So we really don't have anyone with high earning potential to assist into the real problems that's going on in the community. Like they were just announcing the tax benefits for the the budget bill, and everybody that's under 50,000 is getting more money back, and the people who make less than 50,000 are now having to spend more money in their taxes. So we have this real sick like culture that just breeds from capitalism.
Run that back real quick. So if you make more than 50,
you're gonna get some money back. Yeah.
Okay. Period.
That's fucked up. See?
Period.
See? It's nasty. It's nasty.
It shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be.
But that's why it just gets frustrating, because as a black man and you try to hold each other to a standard, and then foolery and shit like that gets celebrated. It does. And like it's gonna go into
foolery and Tom.
Yeah, tomfoolery like that just gets celebrated.
I like it better the other
foolery
way.
Tom.
Foolery and Tom.
It just gets celebrated. It's horrible for our culture, and then you have these people just keep doing it, and it's not enough positivity really being shown, but everybody want to say we want to see more positivity.
All we see is foolery and Tom.
Like just imagine if you like a young kid looking at it and you don't really have much opportunities. The people
or a father.
And it's just people who, which way you going to go? You going to go and try to work a gig, or you going to see how these hustlers living and it looks fast and fun? But it's short.
But why do y'all not think about how stressful that is? Because regardless of how old or young I was, I always thought about how stressful crime would be because of like the anxiety of getting caught or getting killed at any moment all the time.
See, as a man, you're afflicted with this curse of when you see something like that on TV and movie, to think, oh, well, that's why you was stupid. Like I'm not going to do what you did, and I'm gonna get over.
I mean, I feel like all of us be like, well, I would do crime better, but I'm not going to do it because I feel like I would be the one who would be made the example of.
I mean, that's just what happens, and the reason why, like I said, I just get so upset about this. We not too far in a county or two over from us. There were 3 young boys who got killed trying to do a robbery. And
they were knocking down that door.
Yeah, they came down, knocked down the door.
Kicking it down.
The homeowner was there, and he, had the means to defend himself and ended those boys' lives.
Through the door.
And that's why, to me...
all 3 of them.
Because I know that county, and that county isn't like... There are poor people there. Of course, there's poor people wherever you go. But it's not the county where you would expect... that to have to be an opportunity, something that you have to do to find opportunity in something. Mm-hmm. But I also know people.
What county was it?
It was Rockdale.
Okay.
But I've also known people who, and what I was going to school with, who were involved in similar things to what Larry Hoover was doing, and were doing the same kind of operations, trying to create little enterprises and gangs, and ended up going into someone's house, someone getting killed, and now you doing time for that. And it's like, that's where this stuff leads to for people.
Did anybody you went to school with, like in high school or at college or anything, go to jail for anything?
Yeah, for something I just explained. Similar, just like how those boys did that robbery.
Yeah.
But one of the persons that I knew survived, and he ended up getting that time. And when that happens, you get the time for the murder. So even though you didn't shoot to kill anybody, because the homeowner did, you get that time for that murder. Because you were involved in that crime, you were an accomplice in that crime.
Oh, that's crazy.
So yeah, even I was in college, there was a dude that I knew who he was out there like robbing other plugs. So he would go and rob.
That's dangerous.
He would go and rob other plugs. He would look for white boys. So he would try to find white boys that had a lot of it. And
less dangerous.
It ends up getting to a shootout. They steal this old lady car and crash that and get arrested. And like,
because you can't play with APD.
Yeah, and I think the lady got hurt or assaults or something. This wasn't in Atlanta. This was in southern Georgia.
Okay.
But it was, like I said, it's so many people who take these chances and risk because they want to live these lifestyles.
Let me tell you about this girl. I went to high school with her, and apparently she was pimping young women with her boyfriend who was like older. I'm sure it was a kind of messed up situation with what they had going on too. I'm not 100% sure, but I assumed. But it was like a 14 or 16-year-old girl, and she ended up going to jail for pimping the girl, an underage girl.
So she was underage pimping another girl.
No, at this point she was probably like 19.
Oh, yeah, okay. You said 16.
No, the girl that went to jail for pimping
A 16-year-old.
A 16-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, the 19-year-old went to jail for pimping the 16. The man went to jail too. Ain't that crazy?
No, that's insane.
I was like, wow. And this was like not even like, this was someone who was like adjacent to my friend group. Like she would go out to like dinners with us sometimes. Like
That's crazy.
Like I have pictures with this lady.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of a lighter mood. We got some more stuff that's gonna
Right.
probably bring us down. But Streamer University seemed like it was a success.
Yeah, it was. I never watched the actual streams again, but I was watching clips and I was going through reposts and things like that, and it was very cute. It reminded me of college a little bit. It was a little like hectic, like people's throwing flour and setting off fireworks and damaging property. I was like, y'all are doing a lot.
Well, let's give Kai a round of applause. That was big time.
Yeah, that was amazing, Kai.
It was a big operation, so I definitely want to give him on that. And then he went to the American Music Awards like right after.
Yeah.
Young nigga don't sleep. He on
No.
Adderall going crazy right now. His Adderall plug is lit right now.
And
the way he moving.
SZA shouted out Streamer University when she was on stage, which was cute.
Yeah, a lot of people were shouting it out.
Yeah.
He was having a lot of people come up to him wanting to work and stuff like that. So this would be real dope. But I wanted to get into some of the storylines that was going on. But before though, I wanted to talk about Kai had spoke about this actually while he was at Streamer U, how he denied a lot of big platforms that wanted to, host the Streamer University, like Netflix, Prime, all of that stuff were offering, and he declined all of them. And I think it was a smart move because
He wanted the streamers to get the streams.
not just that, the liability too. Like the liability shifts. I know you don't want it to go over to them, but because what they would have to assume in their risk, a lot of that stuff may not have been able to happen. And so if you assume the risk, then you can have a lot of stuff be more, to the edge. And I think that's what he did with a lot of this. A lot of folks they was pushing things to the edge.
They was.
Like a girl got shot in the face with the
BB
with the
gun?
guns and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't a BB gun, it was like a Nerf gun or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
She got shot in the face. There was other girl who got called ugly.
There was a lot of bullying going on.
Yeah, it was a lot of
between
bullying.
the ladies, of course,
A lot of male energy, checking each other and stuff like that.
a lot of claiming women.
Yeah, so let's get into that big
They
story.
was calling each other they balls. That's what the young kids are calling each other.
That's better
now.
than my shit. That's better than that.
That's my ball. I don't like that either.
It's better than my little shit.
I like little shit.
See, that's what's wrong.
That's my little shit.
That's
it's
crazy.
more fun to say than ball. That's my ball. Like I don't know.
Like my ball and chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess that's where that comes from.
So the one that basically took the whole world by storm was the love triangle between DDG, Duke Dennis, and India Love. Do you want to begin?
I feel so like messy talking about this shit.
It's just for what? We got to get into it.
Like I know Duke and India are like our age, but it just seems like such young content. But let's get into it.
So it's
I
just,
saw the clip of India like rubbing up on Duke. There was a whole compilation of her like sniffing him. It was
so just to give y'all a hindsight of what it kind of was, like I said, it was a love triangle between these three, where India was into Duke and DDG was the entire time trying to basically win her affection over and try to show that she was the better dude. Like he was like dirty macking on Dennis and
Dennis was doing his thing. He was flirting with other girls and being Dennis.
yeah, but he was coming up to her and being like, look, he with girls over there. He look at Dennis over there. Like he was really hating. Like it was really impeccable acting, I would say.
Yeah,
because you don't think it was real, right?
That's his character. He does that over time.
You wouldn't think that was a real storyline, right?
No,
I didn't think it was real either when I was watching. It was like it was kind of obvious, but it was well done to the point where it was entertaining.
Yeah.
One of the things too, I just thought was so funny with this whole India Love. Like I remember India Love when she was India Westbrook, when she was like really early out
In Tumblr.
coming out, when she was like the cute young girl at 18,
Yeah.
19 or whatever. I remember her when she was getting fingered by the game in the park. So to see the entire internet.
She took Tumblr by storm.
Yeah.
And then I watched her show too on BET with her family, the Westbrooks.
So like I said, just to see that her taking the internet again by storm like this with the help of Kai, it's just funny just to see like the young little thought that's who she was when I was coming up. Cause she's a little bit younger than me. So she was like the young little thought getting passed around by the rappers, now getting pedestalized by all the young niggas now. It's hilarious.
Pedestalized?
Is that the word? Did I say that?
I don't even know.
They're putting her on a pedestal. Then it's hilarious seeing that.
She's still banging. Like,
I mean, she A1.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the OnlyFans numbers is consistent. They've been releasing all that. All her OnlyFans clips, her titties been all over the timeline.
have they?
Yes.
I haven't seen any of that.
Oh, you missing out. You ain't engaged with the content.
No.
That's why you didn't get the good stuff.
Not the good stuff.
Like that, she's a pretty girl. I'm not gonna act like she's not a pretty girl. It's just, to me, she's just been so yesteryear. Like, I feel like
She's a professor. She was supposed to. Well, she was a professor at Streamer University. There was a clip of her mom calling her and being like, "You were so good up there, and you had long sleeves on and long pants."
she probably hasn't seen that in forever.
And then everyone was in the comments was like, "Hi, your mom was happy that you just had clothes on, girl."
Yeah,
that's
that's wild. That's insane for your mom to get, because they don't understand the streaming stuff, so they just think you being for real on
I mean,
camera.
her mom was on the show and stuff too. I'm sure she understands.
I mean, but it's still different for the older group to kind of understand. Like, even when reality TV came out, they still wasn't understanding if this was scripted or for real or not. Like, even with this, it's not scripted, but it's like improv. Mm-hmm. And that's how they kind of operate with it. And also, I got to tell Casa, now, you did a good job, man. Like, you really looked out for your boy DDG. Y'all had a really good plan to execute this, because he's been allegations. He was paying India Love and all the girls at Streamer University.
Yeah, and Cooking with Kaya, they both came out with statements talking about, oh, he's so great. And I actually want women to stop doing that, because just because you have like a good experience and a good relationship with somebody who's being accused of like atrocities or abuse by another woman doesn't mean that like he's not capable of doing that. There are people who are their children and their neighbors are full on serial killers, and they're like, I would have never known. I would have never known. So that doesn't make any sense. Please stop doing that. Like, you spent one weekend with the nigga, 4 days, and now you're like, I can't imagine him being a monster. Of course you can't. You don't know him.
No, I mean, it was a great PR move. Like, Kai could have easily canceled DDG with everything that he was going and saying, nah, we can't do this. Your name is hot.
There was at one point, he was standing in front of the campus at like because they had the general public of the campus separated from Streamer University. And he was standing there with DDG, and everyone was in the crowd. And Kai was like, clap if you want me to expel DDG. And they all were like, whoa, like clapping and shit. And I thought he was going to kick him out.
No, what I mean though is, like, it was a good move what they did, because the best way to kind of take your heat off you and not make you look like this aggressive individual who put your hands on women and all that is to make you look like the goof. Deprecating humor the entire time. Make him look like he chasing after this girl and looking soft and weak, and that in the long run will pan out to you not being looking as aggressive.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, having all the women shout you out is definitely going to help you out with that.
All that, listen, as soon as that Ring camera footage of him crashing out comes out then all of that goes straight down the toilet.
Yeah. Because, I mean, at this time, what it's probably going to end up being her sparing him more than anything else. That's probably what it's going to come down to. Because once that gets unleashed, there's going to be nothing else he can say, because it's going to validate all her other claims.
She just seems like, I just want my child, and you can see your child once in a while, but I just want my child.
Yeah, it's probably, she probably wants supervised visits and all that. Like, that's just going to be part of the game.
That's what she filed for.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's probably just going to be part of the game. They're going to accept with that. But,
yeah, and don't put my child on your stream.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what you want. But you brought up somebody else, Cooking with Kaya. So, Cooking with Kaya.
So she in a little trouble.
Yeah, she got in a lot of trouble acting up.
Apparently, she had a boyfriend the whole time we've been looking at her shake her ass in the kitchen.
This not no normal
and they've
boyfriend.
Been living together.
But this ain't no normal boyfriend either. He's a streamer too.
He's a streamer that doesn't really stream as much, and he's not as serious about it, according to her.
Yeah,
and she wants him to take it more seriously, but she said that he just be sitting around for real. But at Streamer University, they had a party, and she was throwing ass, and she was getting her butt slapped by a myriad of men. And I guess he saw that. Of course he saw that, because niggas was probably tagging him in it. And they broke up.
My boy was going through it, man.
They broke up. You use this platform, sir, and you get back into streaming and you get your numbers right and move on, because you was never going to keep that girl anyway.
That's crazy.
You what?
All right, so here's a clip of her talking about it.
Because I did have, I'm not going to sit here and cap. Of course I have feelings for him. But I feel like he really did the most about this situation, and the way he's trying to slander my name like I'm a whore. First of all, if I was one, that would be embarrassing for you. Like, why would you stay with a whore? Why would you cry for a whore when she says she wants you to go get established and that she doesn't want to be in a relationship? Why would you literally cry? Okay? Like, y'all, I never seen a man cry like that. And I'm not, man can cry. But it just got to the point where it's like, dang, like, every time I tell you anything like that, like, you should take, like, that should be a good thing. I just want you to be established. That's all I want. Gambling is not, well, I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm not going to speak on his.
So, essentially, it feels like they're not boyfriend, girlfriend to what the story she's trying to say. That's what it feels like she's lying. Like, because if that's not your boyfriend, and you talking about you want him to get somewhere before that's your boyfriend, then it shouldn't have mattered what you was doing or anything like that. But clearly she was claiming this nigga.
Yeah, I believe they were living together.
Hold on, I got his clip right here.
Y'all was still trying to fuck with all these other hoes. Y'all know, you feel me, who I was with type shit. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all know I stopped streaming, nigga. I didn't stop streaming before her, but nigga, I stopped streaming. You feel me? I've been bullshitting. A nigga fell in love for the first time. No cap. Nigga, I never fell in love with nobody before. This is my first time ever in love. You know, shit happens.
Oh, he hurt. That cough was
that's
pain.
the longest I ever talked to a girl in my life. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Longest I probably talked to a girl was probably like a few weeks. Like, no cap. And that's the only girl I ever cared for. Like, I never cared about none of these bitches. I just, you know, just having my way with these hoes.
So was she popular when you first met her?
She had like 50, 60K on Instagram.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But that's light for girls.
Damn, I missed some shit. Nah, I'm just not getting started right now. Not even any. Nah, you, bro. I was not in love with that game. Come on, when I was like.
So this is what I just kind of. This is kind of what I just have to go after this, man. What y'all young boys have to understand is these girls now, y'all age girls, and probably gonna be for the foreseeable future. They don't know how to respect a man at all in this capacity in any way. When given the opportunity, this be dead ass. When given the opportunity, she is going to do what is in her best interest at any time. Like, these girls are not going to hold back to make you feel better. And you got to kind of know that, because she's being around guys that's way more popular than you, and she wants that. It's not like she's somebody who is just being, you know, she ain't one of the girls getting tootsie from Stephon Diggs, who just so happened to be in the camera. No, she's trying to be famous. She got a brand.
Yeah, and it's bigger than yours.
And it's something she clearly cares about. If that's what she, in her discussions with you, she's saying that's a stipulation for y'all to continue to grow. Mm-hmm. Is that you have to get your shit popping and all that.
And that's fair. And she's very young.
I mean, that's true. That's very true.
She's not just going hunker down with your bum ass.
But my thing is, that's the thing. The hunker bumper that she was doing it. If what you're saying is true.
Yeah. If
so
they
you
were
can't
living
say
together.
So she was already making that steps and commitment. And now when the opportunity came to take advantage, she did. So that's what I'm saying. She's not probably the girl you want to be with. So that's probably really, I know it hurts and it's embarrassing because the world feel like it's seeing this, but niggas really don't know who you are. And you'll be able to bounce back from this and almost feel unscathed. Like, women don't get that kind of luxury. When it happens the other way around, everybody knows what they look like. Like, everybody still remember that one girl who had the crazy little hair wrap. Remember she had that, it's the meme where she was sitting down, like, when I'm on a date with a ugly girl, and it pans over to the dark skinned girl. She got her hair wrapped up, looking crazy.
Caitlin Nicole.
Yeah, people know what she look like. No matter what them L's that women take, they gonna remember what y'all look like. As a nigga, you can bounce back from this. Now, it's one nigga that I don't think can. The other guy who got broken up with too at Streamer University. Are you familiar with his? I think it's Dabo.
Oh my
the
god,
dark-skinned
I
nigga.
don't. The only thing I saw was him just like being a nuisance and like throwing water on Brooklyn and like pulling her hoodie.
So apparently, him and Aya also they broke up too.
I don't know who these
they were not really like their whole content was him feeling like he should be lucky to be with her.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what he said. He talks about them breaking up right here.
She don't respect me. She don't respect me. I don't know who she must be. She must
Respect.
be an alien. She only twerk on girls. No, bro. Cause let's put the roles in reverse. I ain't in the middle of a bunch of niggas clustered up in the pile. Okay.
I know your place at original.
I'm not opening the door. I'm not opening the door.
Because she was twerking on girls.
She paid that door, but bitch, I ain't paid for it. I ain't paid for it. She won't pay for it. She won't pay for it. She can stay mad. She can stay mad.
But yeah, she was out there dancing and stuff on people too, and then disrespectful. So they've been beefing on both of their respective streams. Like she went and got one of her homegirls, and they pretty much had like some little boy shorts on and had their abdomens out for their little t-shirts. Just basically like sharking. I guess that's what they call it in the Twitch world, like sharking.
I don't know what that is.
I think that's like just stealing someone's girlfriend or boyfriend away.
Okay, maybe that's probably closer to what it is.
Yeah, what she was using for that. So, like I said, these young folks is crazy. But again,
still say it's running down.
But he said what he said in regards to him not respecting her. And that, like, if you look at their streams and their content, that's what their relationship is. Like her feeling like I'm the girl that's too cute to be with you, even though she ain't really hitting on all that. But
that's like I said, y'all be blind.
They just be color struck. But last thing I wanted to ask, like, what did you see from this whole streaming? Who did you think it benefited the most? Was it like the male creators or the female creators?
Who it benefited the most was probably Tota from Brazil. Did you see him?
I feel like he's the only guy that wasn't well known that it actually worked out.
Yeah, it worked out really well for him. Also, I think her name is Kai Uwu.
Mm-hmm.
She's the black girl who's like very nerdy. And then the Emily girl, the Asian girl that Agent was with a lot, they were very cute.
I think she was already pretty popular.
Was she? I don't know. I didn't know any of these people before, so now I know them. So I feel like it was very successful for them, like those smaller streamers. Of course, Reggie did an amazing job. We are big fans of Reggie. He's hilarious. And then that preacher guy did a good job too, actually. Like he got a good amount of traction. Yeah, and that was and the news reporter girl.
Yeah, I thought she was really good.
She was great. Like she did a good job. And that's the girl I think that Drake followed on Instagram.
But she's not young. From what I
or was
gathering.
it might have been another girl then. Yeah.
Well, because the reason I was thinking about it, because I was seeing a lot of the girls being popping up, not even just the ones that I was familiar with. I've seen new girls, like literally they had like a stitch of all the baddies that got enrolled into Streamers University. So what I was noticing, like it was really like a macrocosm of what entertainment really is. It's like if you're a dude who got the cachet for whatever look or whatever you did, you're able to shine in those kind of environments. But if you're a guy who's coming in with no clout, you're not going to really hear you unless you got something like Tota, you the Brazilian Ray.
Yeah, but his roommate was Ray,
Yeah,
so he was gonna get attention regardless.
And that's what I mean. Where he was able to, he got fortunate with that.
Yeah,
and that to put in that situation. So like, if you think,
but
about
he was really popular on his own in Brazil.
Oh, for
too,
sure.
So,
but I mean, what I'm saying is like to kind of,
it was a good combination of things for him.
And what I'm saying is like that is like the macrocosm of American entertainment, where if you don't have it, especially as a guy, it's going to be hard for you to break through. But the women, if you're attractive, people are going to look at you. The guys that have clout are going to want to be around you, and then that's going to push up your algorithm. Because I seen a lot of folks who was talking about how they shit jumped like 200% in regards to like followers, subscribers, watch time, view time, all that. Like everybody's Twitch was doing numbers from it, but it just interesting seeing how these kind of like environments better suit women in there, in the short run. But maybe sometime in the long term, it might be better for a lot of those guys because they got to build relationships and opportunities and get that equity in the community.
Yeah.
It's going to be dope to see.
Yeah, I just love this whole like streaming era. I love that all these people are making money independently. They getting brand deals. I love that like the internet is just letting people make businesses out of themselves, and people just get to like walk around with a backpack, a dude with a backpack, a techie ass backpack, and walk around and just live life while other kids watch them. I think the kids watching them are a little problematic. I'm not even gonna talk about that part though. But the people who are making money from just like living life, love that for y'all.
Well, we can wrap this over here, but Gil Arenas actually spoke about that, and he kind of actually woke it up on a lot of the guys who were doing kind of the Cenat thing. It isn't that they're getting a lot of money. They get a lot of upfront money from these companies that they operate with. Because like Kai, he has his own, well, not his own, but he's part of, an agency. Mm-hmm. And that's what really gets a lot of these people lit. Especially a lot of these guys that we're figuring out that Black Boy Maxes, DDG, they get involved with these agencies early on. These agencies push them, and then they're able to turn that into something else. But a lot of times, too, they'll get a large sum. Like, so AMP could be working with a group of team who's like, hey, we'll collect all the money from you guys, but we'll give you this amount of money up front. And then we may potentially fund your projects and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But we're going to get all the revenue, the money, the back channel numbers and all that, and you just be in the face of it. It's just, it's the new entertainment. That's all it is. We just doing it on the internet. These guys are probably, we're going to see in a couple of years, we're like, the streamers were getting screwed. And then they're going to probably like repurpose Aiden Ross into like, oh, he was above everybody. He knew what was going on. That's why he went to kick and all this other. Watch. It's going to be a crazy narrative in the next few years. It's going to come out because the bubble's going to burst on it. It's just going to be interesting to see where everybody lands. All right. We got to get into somebody who wasn't at Streamer University, Druski. So Druski might have put out one of his like most amazing skits to date. And I feel like I say that every few often now, like very, very often now when he drops a new skit. But this White Boy in the Hood skit probably was like next level skit.
It was hilarious.
Like
it was a little bit cringy to watch too. Like I was uncomfortable watching it, but it was still funny.
No, it reminded me of Eddie Murphy because he did a skit a long time ago where he had dressed up like a white man. And he was like just doing things and realized like how easy his life was. Nobody was stopping him. Nobody was asking him questions. If he did have like asked for help, they were so easily to help him and tell him which way to go. And it was funny just like seeing, especially because I know, Druski's from Atlanta, knowing that white boy that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because we've all experienced it. But in the South, it feels like it's just a different level because they really fall into that. Like when they feel like they're around the black people, they really fall into it. Like I remember working with this guy when I was out in South Georgia, and he was telling me this story about how all he had was black friends. And then one time he went with his black friends around some other folks, and he had said the N-word. I don't know if it was like calling his friend like, hey, what's up, my nigga? Like, what's up with this nigga type shit? And he said that to around his other black friends, other dudes' black friends, and they all jumped on him. He was like, and my homeboy didn't even help me. And I was like, yeah, nigga, you said nigga in front. What are you supposed to do? You about to look like a race traitor in front of all y'all? So, yeah. But they really, they be when they think they black down here, they really think it, and that's exactly what he like pulled from that character that he was developing. Everybody kept trying to say he was like the Belly Cushington or whatever his name is, that new white boy who's rapping out here in Atlanta. You ain't seen a white boy who's been selling bricks of t-shirts for $100? Damn, you really out the loop.
Yeah, I'm OD out the loop.
You supposed to be internet obsessed like me.
Yeah, but TikTok is a different world than
he's on TikTok.
I don't know. Well, he's not in my algorithms.
But yeah, that's what everybody kept saying who he was shooting at. And I mean, you could say that. I'm not really into whatever his name is, Belly Cushington or whatever. I'm saying the nigga name wrong. I'm not really into him, but I just thought Druski's skit was hilarious, but it did rub some people the wrong way.
It did. But you know what? I haven't come across those types of white people in the South being here yet, like at all. But
how many white people have you really hung out with?
None. Maybe like one. But in New York, it be the Hispanic people that fully think that like they could say nigga. Like you think you black for real.
Yeah. Down here,
it's a real problem.
Down here, you'll see it every once in a while where they feel like they should be, an honorary Negro, but they learn pretty quickly that you're a white boy.
You white.
But Dil Vaughn did get a little bit upset. He said he was gonna grab his paint afterwards.
He said it's on. I'm gonna grab my paint.
So I ended up I used Gronk to make a blackface version of Theo. Should I put it on the screen
so people can
see? Okay.
Look at this stupid. Look at it. Like, this is what he did with his time.
It wasn't hard either.
I'm sure it wasn't. You just told Gronk to do it, and then it spat it out. Like, here you go.
It was like, I can't do blackface, but I can put blackface and red lipstick on him. So I said, do that then. It's like, hey man, you gotta work around the racism with these AI apps, man. You can't just be on the nose with it. They gonna get all crazy.
I'm glad they don't just do blackface though. Like,
I mean, the picture that I just put up was black as face
with red lipstick.
And I want to say this too, because I actually had conversations with people who were trying to say that this was racist and that this wasn't like, if it was the other way around, can y'all stop defending these Peckerwoods, please? Like, it is not the same in any capacity.
There is no like historic racial like stuff with whiteface.
There is nothing that was used to demean, belittle. Also, during the time that blackface was happening, black people couldn't respond with whiteface.
Or they die.
They didn't even have the means to be able to do it at the same rate. Like, they wasn't out here doing the black plague with the white face, and they wasn't trying to do all that. That stuff would have got them killed for the most part.
They would die. It's not the same. Like, it's
to me, again, we discussed this with the black fatigue story, and even in the comment section, people was, oh, I'm tired of your history and your bull, yada yada.
Y'all can't just flip it to like, if white people did this and if black people did this, because there's the context matters. Mm-hmm. It's not just like black and white. There's a bunch of gray area.
And it's not even just the gray area. It was what systemically was being done and what that was trying to highlight. Like, it was a justification to why black people are less than. Like, we're going to show you through our acting why black people are less than, to keep that in people's mind.
Yeah, they weren't doing blackface and the nigga was a lawyer.
Or if he was, it was like everybody was stupid for accepting it.
Yeah, like they were consistently making fun of us. Like, that was their art form.
And it
wasn't to demean us even more.
And it wasn't like making fun of like just comedy. It was a part of a systemic system to keep people down. Like, that's why I just think it's very important.
It was dehumanizing.
Yeah, it was like them dressing up like the monkey or the animal that people do today. Like, that's what that was akin to. It wasn't like they did that seeing that character as an equal person. Like, it wasn't done in that manner. And it wasn't like how nowadays people will like voice a character. Apu used to be voiced by a white guy. The black girl off of Big Mouth was voiced by a white girl. Like, it wasn't like that. That's to me is not blackface. That's not Indian face or anything like that. That's just a stereotype. You trying to use a stereotype with your voice. When you put it on, paint onto your face, when you know the history of, I don't care if we talking about when Jimmy Kimmel was being Karl Malone or what was Whoopi Goldberg's boyfriend who did the blackface.
Oh no,
he was a pretty popular white guy.
I don't know.
That did a lot of TV shows back then. Like, no, there is a jaded, disgusting history that's included with that. So you don't get to shake that off when you do your actions. Like, that's where everybody keeps trying to, like, when I have a lot of conversation with people about this, especially black people, it's like they're trying to, well, why can't we even it out? Well, why aren't we just looked at it like it's the same? And it's like, because there's years of information of why we're not the same. Mm-hmm. There's so much context. And when you try to ignore that, you allow for the negative oppression that's continue going on to the most vulnerable of us to continue to go on.
Maybe if we back in the day had gotten our 40 acres and a mule, then we could kind of be a little bit equal, and we could have these conversations as if we're on an equal playing field, because we would have evened out the playing field back then a little bit.
Yeah, if there was some type of level of reciprocity when time that had been, you also need time as well. It wouldn't just be you give the money and now I can call you a nigger. You don't get to do it like that.
No.
It needs to be time for those things
you
to be able
give
to be
me
built.
the money and then your great grandchildren can call my great grandchildren a nigger.
After we build infrastructure and resources.
Yes. After my great grandchild's home can be appraised as the same as it's worth.
As his white counterpart.
Yes. Thank you. I couldn't get my sentence out.
All right, so let's get into the Grits and Eggs podcast. So are you familiar with, I believe his name is Deante Kyle?
Yeah.
So a lot of people have been reacting to his clip that was going on where he was discussing accountability and intersectionality amongst black men. So I do want to play a little bit of that clip and have us react to it.
You may not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not.
Yeah.
And you are accountable for that as well. Because I don't got time to figure out which white people are nice, which white people aren't racist, or da-da-da-da-da. I have to go on the actions of the group.
Right.
The group as a whole and the history of that group as a whole tells me that they are a danger to me and they are not to be trusted.
Right.
And if you can understand that as a black man and your stance towards white people, then you should absolutely be able to understand women's stance towards you. Mm-hmm. It's not a war on you waged by women. Actually, the war get a little thicker when we start talking about it from the perspective of a woman and the greater society of racism and white supremacy being waged against black people, and then the patriarchal society being waged against women. So they have to deal with two elements. One of those elements we don't have to think about, and honestly, we're perpetuated. Mm-hmm. And it's perpetuated against us young to look at women as objects.
Right.
You know, to look at women only through the lens of a sexual desire and not as the human being that they are. And when you understand how to deal with women on a human level, you understand how much women will enrich your life.
Mm. Amen. Amen.
You want to turn it up a notch?
Yeah.
Get you a good woman get you a good black woman in your corner.
Amen.
Hey man, you want to see your life turn up?
Hey.
And see, this is the thing though. It's a privilege, bro. It's a privilege. You know what I'm saying? We often disregard the power of our black women. The spiritual essence that they're gonna bring to things. The knowing, the seeing, you know what I'm saying? Also too, imagine it. They have to be hyper vigilant because they have to be constantly scanning the room, making sure that they're in a safe situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
So, did you want to start on it or?
You can go ahead.
Okay. I mean, he got a lot of,
because I agree with everything he said.
Yeah, he got a lot of criticism for what he was saying. A lot of people, especially black men, didn't like the accountable line.
They said that he was pandering.
Yeah, that was another word that was being used a long time. And I think a lot of people don't want to understand, and they don't want to add into it where the effects of that danger and how real it is, for women and what they feel that as. Because I remember it was like a year ago, there was a story that happened where it was a teacher. He was one teacher, and he assaulted like 30 kids in the school. And I was having a conversation with someone, and I was saying, it's really messed up that they're going to make rules in place now because of that teacher that's going to harm the relationship that any teacher can have with their student. It's going to hinder it. It's going to put more obstacles in front of it because one person affected 30 lives. Mm-hmm. And even though it only took a small amount of people, a small amount of persons to affect a large amount of people, you still are accountable for those people's actions in a way of, I now have to do a better job of creating a safer environment because we failed when things were lax. And the accountability part isn't coming from what your actions are. It comes from what we allow, because we can't have a real, true, and safe environment if we don't defend our most vulnerable. Like, I get what people want to say, like, oh, the women, they're not there. Like I just said earlier, women don't have a level of respect in regards to it. But at the same time, we have to ask, what is there to respect if we're not defending that? If they don't know that their honor can't be defended in those types of situations. So that's why I said I agree with a lot of his talking points. One thing I would disagree with is the point of validating their worth through the benefit that your life brings. Because while marriage does bring a lot of benefits to men's life, and saying like, oh, you live longer, you have a partner to help you with things like that, that shouldn't be the focus on why we give humanity to somebody.
Yeah, it shouldn't be because they...
Like, black women shouldn't be able to give you shit and you still give them humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just truly feel like that level of humanity is necessary, because then we can then go into reality. Because if she wants to go into it under a certain guise, your respect is your protection isn't entitled to her I've said that on numerous times. Your respect isn't entitled to me, just like my protection isn't entitled to you. So we don't have to exchange those two things, but you should be willingly given that opportunity to do so.
Why do you think? I think it's funny that you say that your protection isn't entitled, but why not if we're the most vulnerable?
Well, because in a certain thing regarding protection also means submission. Like, I can't protect you unless you give me the opportunities to tell you, hey, you can't do X, Y, and Z, so that I can protect you in a manner that is
you also just said that what is there to respect?
Oh no, I understand that. But
so what is?
I can't get mad at you.
If there's nothing to respect, then what is there to submit to?
That's what I mean. You can't ask for both. My point rings true to that. If you don't bring that, then you can't expect nothing back. But if I'm not entitled to it,
it's like a snake eating its tail. Like where does it end?
You're right. Because at some point you have to be the man that you claim to deserve. But if you're that man, you rise to that occasion, because those are the principles that would create the identity that you're shaping.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean, where if you want to be that man, that comes with the idea of showing that you are above her. You are superior to which you don't have to need those actions from her to justify who you are. But if we're going to look at each other like equals, then that concession is to be made. So that's what I mean with that conversation. It even goes back to what I was talking about with the child dad thing. The conversation wasn't about making the dad talk to the parent. It was about you as the mom. How much do you value the nature of a father being involved? And what are you willing to discuss and sacrifice so that can happen? Regardless of if it's to your detriment or not. It's just, do you value it? So that is part of the concession. But as a man, you can't use a feminine action to justify why you're not being the honorable man that you claim to be. Because I think that's what a lot of cases with this. Like, to me, I don't claim to be no stand-up, I'm a white knight nigga. Mm-hmm. I come through, if you have something for me, I got something that I can exchange for you. But I also don't expect women to respect me just because I'm a black man. I've always said on that. So that's what I mean, where I accept my outcome of how I operate. But if I'm an individual who brings that respect or brings that protection off the instinct, then I'm going to assume that you're going to give me the respect as well. And then when I don't receive that respect, now we're at odds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you get to, I think, the enemy that feminism creates amongst men is that I'm probably going to say this in a later conversation, so I'm going to save it for that. But when I mean why the enemy, it creates the opportunity it creates the enemy because it makes men have to be more accountable. It makes it that you have to step up and rise to the occasion. Because now, as you are being a woman, if I give you the freedom of independence to create your own life, now I have to bring a step above that for you to want to give me your life or your hand.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I can create my own life.
Yeah, like basically I can't accept bad behavior like the old days, because unlike grandma, I got a bank account. I can get I got a credit score.
Yeah.
I can get an apartment. Even if it's not the best, it's mine, and it's better than being under your oppressive rule.
Yeah.
So that's where
I have freedom, and freedom is better than anything.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's where we get this conversation of accountability coming out of this, and men just hate having to step up, because we feel, especially as black men, we feel like we have all of this pressure on us from the world, and then we have to get it from our women. We feel like, oh, you're just adding on to that. But that's just the pressure of being the ideal man that y'all want women to respond to. Like, if you say a woman is submissive, that means you feel like, as a man, you should protect that woman. If you feel like that's inherent to you. I don't feel like those things are inherent to people. I feel like those are things that you want to do or want to become. So if you feel like they're inherent, you should just do it off the muscle. And the woman shouldn't in no way dictate it. But I feel like if we're going to have feminism, then it has to be a one-to-one conversation with it. We'll just do. I say this is going to be a little, like you said, it's going to be a mist of misogyny, I guess, into mine.
Yeah, as always. There was somebody that I dated back in the day that did not believe in intersectionality at all as a concept. Like, and we had like a heated discussion about it, a whole black man, because of course I don't date white men, but a whole black man that didn't believe in intersectionality, and he just was like, everyone, like he was like, everyone experiences.
He felt like life was in a vacuum.
Yeah, like everyone experiences. What's the word I'm looking for?
What, bad things or oppression or?
Yes, everyone experiences oppressions, and it's not. There's no like chart or like layers of how you can experience oppression, of how you can measure it, and that the whole concept just didn't make sense at all. And I was like, there's no way you believe that.
Yeah, I mean, people don't want to listen to the empirical data with it. Like, I get where I saw some people talking about how like police violence and stuff towards men is higher than women, of course, sentencing and stuff like that. But they don't also add into the effect that when women do that, they also don't get the respect level that comes with being a physical threat.
No.
So
and then women's prisons are horrible too.
They get pushed around. Like and a lot of people don't understand too, when they have those interactions with the police, sometimes they may not get arrested like a man would, but they got assaulted. They got violated. And that's how they got to make it home, but that's because they had to give up a part of their body for it. So like I understand like people will say things like, oh, as men, we can get beat up and killed by the police, but a woman could get beat up, R-word, by the police and then get killed. And then sitting there, looking crazy.
And then when it does happen, nobody cares. There's no media attention or anything like that. Like when it happens to a black woman, nobody's up in arms as much as when it happens to a black man or when it happens to a white person in general. We're not even talking about white people right now.
I mean, I've seen just in my lifetime of a woman going to tell something that happened and people not believing her to the points where the court silenced her, where she can't speak about it publicly ever. She can get in trouble for that person. That's all that person got to. Not slap on the wrist. No real trouble. And that's all it happened. Nobody here, even it's not even like it happened anymore. And she still has to live with that. And I understand that because, again, when I go back to talking about the most vulnerable, is like I can't expect a woman to look at the world like a man or to handle the world like a man does. Even if we give you the opportunities to choose, I understand that trauma affects you differently. Like I say this statement a lot, and I know you hate when I say it about the women being children thing, but I don't say that to belittle women. I say that to help men understand how you should view that, because that's the only scope that I think they would understand that in. And once you understand that this person is more susceptible to violence than you are because of their physical stature and things that come with that, when you understand that certain stimuli affect them differently, like somebody yelling at a dude may not affect him the same way it may affect yelling at a woman.
I'm immediately gonna cry.
Her being in fear is going to do something to you that it may not do to her, and more than likely it's going to be her detriment. Like she's literally in fear that you can kill her at any point, and that's just going to be the end. I don't have that with a woman. Like when I'm around a woman, I go on a first date with a woman, I don't have a fear that she could kill me and do something to me.
No.
But a woman will have that fear regardless if it's never happened to her.
Yeah, there's whole, like, I sent my friends pictures of your whole profile and everything. Like, there's whole things that we go through. You didn't do that.
Yeah, nobody even knew I was talking to you.
Showed up.
Yeah, there was no defense. I didn't send my mom a picture of you like, this is the girl I'm with.
Yeah, like I had my location on.
So yeah, so that's where it's just a different experience. And again, I understand we shouldn't harp on what people would feel like a smaller amount of people. But even if you want to look at the FBI numbers, you got to understand that's not every woman's account. That's not every woman going and telling what happened. So even if you look at those numbers, you may have to triple or quadruple those numbers for to be anywhere that's close to accurate. So you could be living, again, we know for almost a fact that we're living amongst tons of women who've had at least one or two sexual assault experiences in their life. So if that's a reality, even if it's just a small amount of men doing it, that's going to affect a woman in a way that she's not going to just be able to process you being a nice guy and assume you being a nice guy just because.
Yeah. And
it's not, and one thing too, I want to wrap it up with, people try to compare when white people use like the media and all this other stuff to say black men are violent or black people are violent. The reason there's a difference between when white men say it and when black women say it is, again, I stated, white men are getting this from media. They're not getting it from a lived experience with black men. When black women say, this is happening to me. This is coming from a lived experience with black men, or from people that they know or loved ones who had this lived experience with black men. And that holds a whole different level of credit than it does a white person who's talking about imagery from TV that was produced by white people that just happened to have a black person on it. So
when you're around black people, you can experience them. And black women are the first ones who can attest to what black men are doing to them, because we the ones that are dealing with you niggas.
Yep. But hey, man, I'm proud of you. Grits and Eggs podcast.
Yeah.
Y'all boys doing a lot of good things, man. That's what I kind of wanted my show to look like at first before you said you wanted to get on. Remember how I said I was just going to do it solo like that?
You could still do that eventually.
That's crazy. That's
like,
wild.
I could take a step back.
That's what. See, we've been building up so much together. Now you just want to leave.
I don't want to leave, but like I told you, like I think you should do a episode on your own.
Just me talking.
Yeah, like sports and man shit that I don't care about.
That'll be on the Twitch and stuff once we start Twitch and the streaming. Once we do that, hopefully.
There's so much stuff I don't care about that like you care about so much, especially sports, that like I feel like you could get your shit off for real, and it would be highly entertaining. Like, and I want people to know all your little like sports isms.
Don't worry. Once we start streaming, she's only going to be in the room probably for like 30, 40 minutes tops.
Yeah,
she's I'm gone. I'm going to be out of here, and then it's just going to be us.
I'll do my own streams of like me getting ready and doing girly makeup things, like for the girls who want to see that. But I'm not going to be in there talking to you niggas.
It's crazy.
That's just not me.
All right. So before we end up wrapping up the show, hold on. All right. Yeah. Before we end up wrapping up the show, I do want to just do some important conversations. We do have to talk about Trump's one big beautiful bill. It's the beautifulest bill ever.
What is this bill?
It's the budget bill that's been going past. That just got passed in this House, so now it has to go through the Senate. And I just want to warn some people about some of the information that's in here. Again, Miss Lady over here was happy her taxes is going to be lighter, so she can get more money in her pocket. But at what cost?
I take it.
Oh, you'll take it? Let's say at what cost. So
let's see the cost though.
here's some things that a lot of great journalists have been pulling out of the budgets and been finding out. And for this to be a budget bill and to have all of this stuff in here, it just shows how sneaky and dastardly Trump is. The reason why he put in the budget bill is because the budget only takes, I think, 50% of the vote to pass it, or 51% of the vote. And if you were to do it as a regular bill, it would take 60%. So that's why he put it into this budget bill. So some of the things that's going on is basically like giving him freedom from the court. So what they're doing is they're going to remove the money that's placed for federal judges to put bonds out so that they can do indictments on the federal government if they feel like they're doing something unconstitutional. So just recently, like right now, the trade war that Trump's trying to have, the federal courts have just stated that he can't unilaterally apply tariffs the way that he did, and that the law that he was using did not allow for that. Now, some of the tariffs get to remain, I think, like on steel and stuff, because that law was constitutional. But the other wide tariffs that he was putting, like on the penguin country, was unconstitutional. What this is going to do is going to stop all that from happening, and also take all of the prior federal federal court decisions that were made and make them essentially null and void. Because what happens is when the federal government you go do a lawsuit, what they do to stop for frivolous lawsuits, you have to pay like a bond. Well, understandably, you're not going to assume a federal judge is going to do a frivolous lawsuit, so they put money aside for these lawsuits to be reviewed and take over. So with him taking that money out, now it's going to be nearly impossible to get any court cases to the Supreme Court, which would make that would be the only court that Trump would have to listen to. Mm-hmm. So essentially the Muslim ban would be able to come back into effect. All of his executive orders that were deemed unconstitutional will be able to come into effect.
And I don't want the money.
So that's what I'm saying. All of that will be able to go back into effect, because literally you as a civilian would have to put in a case, and then it would only be for your case, and then everybody else would still have to do it individually. It wouldn't apply to everybody like how a normal precedent would. So either you would have to do like your state would have to go apply for the case, and you have to put money up, and they have to go through all this so that could work, or depending on how your state works, you may have to do it as an individual. So like I said, it just makes more work for you as the victim, and whatever decision he makes, and then it also stops them from being able to be stopped from federal judges. So essentially makes them be able to do whatever he wants.
There has to be a way to stop this man.
Well, if it goes through the Senate, then no, because he's going to sign it. Unless they remove those provisions when it goes through the Senate, he's going to sign it.
Hopefully they get removed, because there's no way that like they're just going to let that go through. There are people in Congress and in the Senate who actually like read through the bills.
Yeah, I mean, people know that, but it literally, like I said, doesn't have to go 60%. So if all the Republicans are DEI, dick-eating individuals on Trump, then they're going to go right here and vote the way it's supposed
how
to
much?
be.
It's majority Republican, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, the House and the Senate are most majority Republican.
Yeah, so
also, there's some other things in here. He also put a 10-year moratorium on states being able to ban or regulate AI. So again, we talked about this a few weeks ago, where Elon Musk has all of these turbines, more than what he's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
What that would then stop is states from being able to regulate what he's doing. Only regulations that they would have are federal government regulations, and we know this clown's not going to hold up any of those. He wants to get rid of all federal regulations. So again, it's going to allow for them to go into black communities, not give black people jobs, but give them pollution.
set up these giant turbines.
Yeah, the best job you're going to get with Elon being black is clean up the toilets. Like that's I'm pretty sure most of them black people in that AI, you may have some people at the top or whatever, sprinkle here and there, but most of them probably clean the toilets. We being dead ass. Because Elon has had multiple cases regarding racism at his companies. But like I said,
I didn't even know that.
The reason why that's worried me the most, because I'm pretty sure as long as you and I have been talking, I've talked about my fear of us not having proper legislation to protect the regular everyday person when the rise of AI comes. And they've already been predicting about entry-level jobs and positions and groups being eradicated within the next 5 years. If we allow for Trump to do this unregulated, allow these men to do this unregulated, you can just see vast swarms of people either having to be underemployed or unemployed altogether.
And it's scary to think what our country is going to look like when that happens, when the disenfranchised are even more so. And then he's going to be in office for long enough for it to get bad and stay bad. Like, it's only, the first 200 days of him in office? It hasn't even been that long. So we have 3 more years of this. If this does go through and a bunch of people lose their jobs to AI, then crime is going to go up. Like, people are going to they're going to be starving. They're going to be hungry, and then shit is going to get really bad. And then it's going to look like the purge out here.
Yeah. And then he's talked about doing a purge. Remember, Trump did say that too. He talked about a purge during the election. But I think with this, we got to also think about, especially what I said earlier with the court case, that also gives him grounds to be able to run the election if he wants to again. Put an executive order. Any president who didn't run 2 consecutive terms can run again. That gets Obama out, so Obama can't run against him. And then he can go and run and do his election cycle again. And that's where another part is. So last part I do want to...
That can't be, that's in the Constitution.
But if he does an executive... Because he wrote an executive order to try to get rid of the 14th Amendment, remember? And then the federal judges came and said, no, that's unconstitutional. But if those bonds get taken away, now it doesn't matter because it can't go up to the Supreme Court. Last thing, too, I just want to add on here that was on there. So they're also trying to change the dependent age on SNAP benefits from the age of 18 to 7. So what that means, if you are a parent of an 8-year-old and up, you will no longer be able to apply for them to be a dependent for you on your SNAP benefits.
Back to the factories they go.
I mean, it's either that or you're going to actually have to now sign your kids up for food stamps. So your 8-year-old son is going to have his own food stamp card. And you're going to inconvenience poor people even more if you have to apply that now.
What is the point of actually doing that? Because if the 8-year-old is then able to enroll for the SNAP benefits themselves and get the money, why not just give the money to the mom?
Well,
or the dad.
The reason why it changes the accounting of it, because the way that they do it is by people in age groups. So if we don't have an age group that's not accounted for, we can say we're saving money because we're no longer giving people this money based off of having kids X, Y, and Z age. So that's where they're able to move the money around and do stuff like that. Because that's what all this is for, is the tax cuts that everyone's getting.
It doesn't end up being the same amount of money given out? Okay.
No, it wouldn't be the same amount because you would just write people for less money now. You would just write because now there's less money in the budget. Because that's what another thing this bill is doing, is pulling money from SNAP. So it's pulling money from the agriculture budget. So that's less money for them to disseminate. And so they just give people less money on their stamp.
The poor whites are on the internet just crying about this, like taking away my SNAP benefits, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think this was going to happen.
Medicare.
Of course it was going to happen because Trump does not like poor people.
He thinks that poor people are poor because they're bad.
And stupid.
Yeah, that's literally what they've told the entire time. Y'all just thought they were talking about black people and immigrants. So, hate to break that to you. Fuck Charlie Kirk too, man. Just want to say that. I don't think we're going to get in what to reacting to his clips. He got murdered at Cambridge. Oh my God. His gummy looking face got ate up. He got ate. Chuck the Cuck, you are a dork. And you're a loser. I just want to say that. I don't even really want to react to your content. But we're going to. I had so much shit too. I was Googling some shit about this. They had some stuff to kill. I was going to burn this nigga up. Because a shooter was part of his group, Turning Point. The guy who shot up Florida State, I think last year.
Oh, no, I did not know
that. He was a Turning Point member for Charlie Kirk. And he was like looked at as like this really extremist conservative and all that stuff. And it reminded me of, you know who Glenn Beck is? Mm-hmm. So Glenn Beck was like the Charlie Kirk when I was a kid. And he was the one who was like saying all the wild stuff. And there was a dude named Byron Williams who got into a shootout with the police because he wanted to shoot up this organization that Glenn Beck told him was bad. And it just reminded me of that. And it's like, you conservative clowns, man, y'all literally destroy, poison your own people's minds and brains, and then tell them it's, it's raining outside and you really pissing on them. So, I think we did a good day today, man.
We did.
All right, want to thank y'all for listening to us, man. Talk FNF TV. We out. Tell them what we need to do.
Follow us on all of the social media at talk.fnf.tv on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. If you're currently listening on any of the streaming platforms, please give us a quick download. And then if you're listening on YouTube, watching us on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you disagree or agree with anything we said. Love you. Bye.
This is what Megan was hearing when Kelsey was on top of her beating her ass.
That's what we gonna end it with?
Yeah.